Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. I hope you are all good and you've been enjoying the Halloween videos so far. We have a gorgeous brand new mold from Molds and Shapes. Details for Molds and Shapes with your 10% discount code will be in the description box below. This is a stunning arch silicone mold with the most spookiest Halloweenist image in the center. It has you got your kind of typical haunted house vibe up on a hill. We've got bats flying in the sky. We've got a graveyard at the bottom, and all of it combined just makes for the coolest arch mold. Again, this could be wall art, put it on your bookshelf, wherever you want to use it, you can use it. Now, the embossed image. So we've got 2 layers here. You can do as many layers as you want, but I'm going to be doing 2 layers. The embossed image is all going to be in black because I had a plan from the off. It is a super thin embossing, so you do need a couple of little micro tools to be able to get the resin to travel in and around all of the beautiful intricate details. So first up, layer 1, we are going with black. Now you could use your polyurethane in this if you wanted to, but honestly I wouldn't. You don't have much time to play with polyurethane, so this is where epoxy resin really will be your friend. It won't cure up fast. You've got some work time. You've got a solid 30 to 40 minute work time with most resins that are standard as long as they're not fast curing, that's okay. But you are going to need time on this mold. Don't use polyurethane. So I'm pouring some black into those embossed areas. I want this to obviously now be a silhouette. You could probably tell where I'm going with it. The image is going to be a black silhouette against a very cool background. I'm using a combination. I started pouring the resin out of my cup and I thought, I can't. This is going to get too messy. I'm going to make way too many spill outs. I need to use a squeezy bottle. So I did pour some resin into my squeezy bottle to try and get the outer rim of the tray of the wall art piece. And then I decided to go back to using a lollipop stick. So there was a kind of a multitude of ways that I got the resin into all of the areas. Predominantly, I used a squeezy bottle for the detail. Then once I'd finished, I ended up using my micro brush tool. Now I have sped this section up for you because honestly it was time consuming but totally worth it. You don't have to do this step. If you wanted to just pour your resin in and then paint the raised areas, once you demold, all of this black area will be raised. You could just pour resin straight in the mold and then paint the raised areas once you demold. I just felt like for what I wanted to do, this was the better way around. So now you can see I've swapped out to my lollipop stick and then I use my micro brush tool to drag the resin in between each and every one of those window panes and look at the results. There was definitely a couple of areas at this point I realized I'd kind of missed dragging the resin, so I did go back in and just use a cocktail stick to get into those seriously teeny tiny details and nooks and crannies. Again, all worth it. And it was only here that I was filming this I realized I missed a whole chunk from here, so I went in and I made sure that that area there was completely filled. And again, it's time consuming, but guys, totally worth it. This is 24 hours later. All of the black resin has completely cured, and I knew immediately when I saw this mold, we need lights. We need lights. We need this haunted house to light up like the spookiest house on the hill. You know, the haunted house on the hill. We need these lights to light the windows, and I think that's going to give it such an oomph that is what I decided to do. Now, these lights for resin, I will try and find them and link them below. They are fantastic. If you've been with me a while, you'll know I was very, very intimidated by adding lights into resin. I don't know. I just felt like, what if they just stop working, you know? Luckily, what I'm doing here, if they do stop working, I can cut them and it won't matter. But we are going to cut these lights, guys. So many of you told me that because this is an LED strip, you can actually cut it. You don't need all of the lights. I think in the last video, I was like, I've got too many lights on this string. And quite a few of you said, you do know you can cut it. I was like, no, I didn't know that. Now I do. And I did. So I cut off everything I didn't need and I couldn't believe it worked. I was like, at your risk, I was literally going to be like, guys, if this doesn't work, I swear. But I counted how many lights I needed and I think I counted around about 10 and then I went for it. And oh my goodness, all of the lights stayed on and we do have another 10 or 15 lights that I won't be needing and there is an element of waste. But you know, next time I buy lights, I will just buy less on a string and that is all good. You can, of course, use the entire pack of lights and go to town with lights, but I felt very specific about what I wanted from this and I just wanted the lights in and around the windows. So one little dot of UV resin, I'm holding the light string down with my silicone tool, placing the UV light over the top until that one light has cured. And I'm also leaving the lights on throughout. What I don't want to do is get to the end of my project and realize the lights don't work anymore. And that's my biggest fear. Like the other thing I'm doing, guys, is I'm not placing the lights down in the windows. I'm placing the lights in just underneath the windows. So when we demold this, you won't be able to tell with your naked eye. You will not see any lights whatsoever. You won't see wires. You won't see the bulbs because, again, long term, if they stop working, I can simply snip off the excess and no one will ever know there's lights in there. So that works for me. That works for me. Now, to get rid of all that excess wire between each light, I'm simply wrapping it around the end of a paintbrush, a really thin paintbrush, pulling the paintbrush out, and now I have this gorgeous coil of wire that I can press down flat and cure it with UV resin to hold it in place. Luckily, this mold, so this haunted house area, it's got quite a big chunky bit of black there and it's a perfect amount to be able to disguise all of the wires so you can kind of do your thing. You know, coil it up, press it down, cure it in place. And yeah, we've got a generous amount of black wall to just hide all of the mess. And trust me, it does get messy, but it's totally worth it. Again, I did a little bit of speed up because it was time consuming, but guys, totally worth every second I spent on this piece. It's a repetitive process, laying down your light bulb, working out where you want it to be, holding it in place like this with your silicone tool until you are happy it has cured. And now we go speedy. So for excess wire, wrap it around a stick or a paintbrush, coil it up, press it down, glue it down. Then grab your bulb, another dot of UV resin, hold it down, glue it down, use your UV light. Repeat until you are happy. All of your lights have been used up and all of your lights are in exactly the same place. For the last few lights, I wrapped the rest of the coil around the paintbrush, and this was almost easier then to glue in place and just spread across the whole entire ground floor of this house, as you see me doing here, just holding it down in place, gluing bit by bit. But actually coiling the entire thing at once worked really well. This is what they're looking like. I'm already excited because I can see a glow on the mold. Like the actual blue molds and shapes silicone mold is glowing. So I know already that the light from these is gonna work, guys. It's gonna actually work. So yes, hot mess of wires that nobody will ever see because it's completely hidden by the expanse of black resin. So yeah, gorgeous. I was very excited about this one. Next up, I decided we are going for a spooky sunset vibe in the background. So we are going with glow in the dark powders. These are glow in the dark powders from Let's Resin. I am a Let's Resin affiliate, so details will be down below for you guys and your 10% off. I knew these would be stunning, also offering us a little bit of like a transparent, like a see-through transparent vibe as well. So these are powders. If you've not yet used these, they are very, very different to mica. They are not mica. They are not chameleon. They act in a very, very different way. Almost sandy. They give sand vibes, literal beach sand vibes. So they do take a lot more work to mix in. You just want to make sure you've got them utterly mixed in before you pour. Here we are pouring. Guys, I was so in love. I was so in love with the idea of this black silhouette of the haunted house on the hill, the spooky vibes with this beautiful sunset, but also not romantic sunset. I wanted it to be a tad spooky, so I did add quite a bit of purple in there. Thought it would work really, really well. And I was alternating between the colours. Again, how you do this is entirely up to you. First up, I'm laying down a nice thin layer so that every colour has been accounted for. I've got every colour in there. And then all I do then is go back and layer it even more. So I just pour the colours over themselves until each and every one of my pots are empty and I'm happy. But these tiny little pots, so handy. I got these from Let's Resin and you can buy them in bulk on Amazon as well. So yeah, they're just super handy when you're doing smaller pours like this. 1 cup in the left hand, 1 cup in the right hand. Just go for it. Don't think too hard about it. Just the resin does what resin wants anyway. We all know it. But the thing is with these powders, they are heavier than normal mica. So there is a chance that these colours won't move that much. They won't move that much because these neon glow-in-the-dark powders are heavy. So they tend to stay in place. Which is not a bad thing either, because we won't just get one big mishmash of weird colours. But yeah, carry on until you are fully done, just layering those colours up. Once I was happy with where my colours were, I used up all of the resin in all of the pots, just going back over and back over until they were all completely empty. The whole entire time I was working on this project, I kept the lights on, because I really didn't want to get right to the end, switch them on and be like, oh, at what point did they stop working? You can tell I have trust issues with lights, and this is probably why I was so intimidated for so long. But I'm really happy I'm finally using them, and this project is 100% perfect for lights in resin. I have a little bit of clear left in the cup and I am simply pouring it in. No rhyme or reason, nilly-willy, up, down, left, right. Don't really mind at this point. This is what we are looking like. Now, I did end up using my heat gun just a little bit because I thought a little bit of a blend and a little bit of an ombre would be gorgeous. The colour that I've got down at the bottom is the yellow-green glow-in-the-dark. It's almost completely see-through, but I know it glows amazingly. This is 24 hours later, and thank you to my patrons again for choosing the background colour. This was the hardest part for me. I knew I didn't want to use a dark colour because then we'd really lose sight of the haunted house and the bats. You definitely didn't want to lose the stunning colours in those powders either. You don't want to lose the sunset. So you can't really do anything darker than a pale pink or a pale. It had to be pale. So it was majority of my patrons said some kind of pearl, some kind of cream, and some kind of glittery sparkle. So I went with some beautiful pearly cream mica powder, and I also added a ton of that super sparkle white in the hopes that somewhere on demold we'll see nothing but sparkle on the other side coming through from that stunning sunset. Again, this is 24 hours later. I should have put it on screen. I forget to mention things. 24 hours later, the sunset has cured. So again, this is a long one. It's a 3-day project, The black took 24 hours. The sunset, another 24 hours. And then we are finally backing it. The whole time I am testing those lights because my heart, honestly, I was just so excited. Look at this color. This is a stunning combination. And that is it. 24 hours later again, it is time to demold. And guys, oh my goodness me. I really hope you love this as much as I do. That sunset, stop it now. Beautiful. Even if these were not glow in the dark colours, beautiful. It's absolutely stunning. It's everything I wanted it to be. The way it starts off dark and blue at the top, and then behind the house it goes more pinky, reddy, yellow, orangey. And some of that yellow and red did come down into the gravestone, and that's absolutely fine. But we have still got a bit of a neon spooky vibe with the green in there. Now at this point, I kind of knew it anyway, but you can really see where I've missed areas with the black. But luckily this is now a raised surface. So if that did really bother you, you could just fill them in with black pen. But it was a moment of truth to see if the lights actually worked. And oh my goodness, we have got glowing windows. This is me turning it on and off. Glowing windows in the haunted house on the hill, and you cannot see the wires. You cannot see anything because I've put them all just below. I've tried to bring you into the darkest possible area of my house, but don't worry, I do end up filming later that night when it is pitch black. So we really do get a true look at what it looks like in the dark. But guys, I love it. I absolutely love it. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know what you would have done. Let me know how maybe you would have done things differently to me. But yeah, this is definitely what I wanted to do at the time I wanted to do it. This is what it's looking like. Pitch black in my living room late at night with the lights on. With the lights on the house, with the lights on the house. The difference being that when it becomes glow in the dark, my phone couldn't even cope with it. My phone was really struggling to pick it up. So here you see it's like kind of like flashing forwards and backwards, and I'm really sorry about that. But as soon as I plunged us into complete darkness, my phone was like, I don't know what I'm looking at. What am I looking at? But the glow in the dark definitely comes through. The secret to glow in the dark products and glow in the dark paint, glow in the dark powders, they do need an element of light almost to charge them up for a while before they do actually glow in the dark. So make sure that if you want anything to glow in the dark, it does need a light source to be able to do that. But yeah, let me know your thoughts. I absolutely love it. Look at this, guys. Stop it. Why is my phone even kind of, the way my phone can't cope makes it look like there's a thunderstorm. But look at this is just the glow in the dark. This is without the lights. This is just the glow in the dark. And we've got that top floor of that haunted house is lit up like someone's in there. I'm sorry. Ooh. I've absolutely loved this one. I love the imagination that goes along with these molds. Thank you so much to Molds and Shapes for sending this over to me. I hope you guys have all enjoyed it and you feel inspired in some way. Let me know. Please hit that thumbs up. That is really what makes a massive difference to me and my channel growth. Also, if you have not yet subscribed, please do hit that subscribe button. Leave a comment down below and I will see you all in the next video.